it all out, but I just keep, I'm like, I'm gonna say,
This is the youth council.
yeah.
I mean, it's not the end of the world, but that's technically the name of the youth council.
But like, it's called city. No, it's like this part. It's like the thank you for including,
The
and
youth
then it's
council
like city council.
in the city council. Just take the time. That's the number one thing with public speaking. We get nervous, we talk really fast, right? So like,
After every break, I'm
take
just gonna like take like a deep breath.
a pause. You know, take a pause.
That's why I put it like in sections.
That's
So I
really
like
smart. Yep. Just talk slow.
pause.
Yeah, you got it.
I feel like I'm pretty good at public speaking. I feel like I used to do it a little better, but I can work on it. Which is
What do you want? What do you think your mom wants more? The video or the picture?
I think you can do both. You know.
My phone is like almost 7 years old, so I don't know. Maybe if I record and then I can do a still shot of the, you think I'm that talented? Oh my god, really? I'm really not talented. You get the video.
Yeah, it's
If
pretty
we got
good.
a video on her phone, that would be great. Then you can have your own.
Oh my gosh, those photos.
So go to video.
Those photos.
You just took like 20 pictures
Yeah.
before. Okay.
Oh, okay. Hello. I don't know how to use.
Did you just get it?
I've had it because so like it was like an in between period, and I was like, I want to try Android out, and then I realized that I never liked it.
Oh, I have an Android. I like Android. So actually know how to use that. Okay. So that helps.
Yeah, and then you can take photos too. Well,
Right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Maybe not. Mr. Matt?
Sorry, I didn't hear you very well. Father in heaven, we come together as a council for the city of 29 Palms. We ask thee to bless this council with wisdom to carry out their agendas and to bring prosperous health to our community. We also pray, Father, for the city of 29 Palms to be able to grow and prosper. And we pray for the troops and the base that we have here in 29 Palms. And we ask this in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you. Roll call.
Councilmember Scott,
Here.
Councilmember Wright,
Here.
Councilmember Mintz,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Klink,
Here.
Mayor Bilderman.
Here. No closed session assignment, announcements, changes to the agenda? Anybody?
I don't think so.
Nope. All right, announcements. These proceedings may be viewed on demand on the City of 29 Palms website at www.29palms.org. You may also live stream this meeting by going onto the website and clicking on the meeting agendas link. Awards, presentation, appointments, and proclamation. Number 1, Youth Council update.
Hello. Thank you so much. My name is Isaac Coleman, and I'm the newly appointed chairman of 29 Palms Youth Council. This is our new secretary, Izzy Hargrove. And this is Truman Walsh, a fellow Youth Council member. Thank you for including the Youth Council in the City Council meeting today. We truly appreciate having a seat at the table. This is the first ever Youth Council. The first ever Youth Council members were sworn in on May 31st, 2024. We've been meeting approximately every 2 weeks since then to brainstorm the group's goals and what we hope to accomplish in the future. Since we're the first generation of Youth Council, we have to create rules and regulations for present and future members. We started with our bylaws, and we recently finalized our mission statement. It is as follows. The 29 Palms Youth Council strives to give youth a voice, support the community, and create a bridge between the city and youth for future generations. And now, Truman Walsh presents what we've accomplished today and our future.
Last week, we held our first board election, during which time a chairperson, a vice chairperson, and secretary were elected. We will be appointing a social media manager to help manage our soon-to-be created social media pages in order to gain feedback and keep the community informed. Over the summer, the Youth Council volunteered at the Senior Center a total of 3 times. Twice to play games, including Scrabble and chess, and to chat with the people there in order to help bridge the community and bridge a gap between generations. We also provided a teen technology training day in order to assist in setting up some new iPads the Senior Center had acquired over the summer. Both seniors and youth had a great time together. Now, on to our current and future plans. For the upcoming Pioneer Day Parade, the Youth Council will be carrying the banners at the beginning of the parade. We will also be participating in future city-sponsored events. Early next year, we plan to hold a community event similar to a City Olympics, in which various smaller events would take place with a variety of sports and games across several age groups, taking inspiration from the previous Field Day Sports Challenge event. At the moment, we haven't finalized what games we will be doing, but we plan to host this event in April. More details to come in the future. We are excited to develop an action plan for the year so that we can accomplish many things as the inaugural 29 Palms Youth Council. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Ms. Director? She has nothing to say?
Huh?
Amy has nothing to say?
Amy,
The director.
do you have anything to say?
You're good? Okay. Let's do the caveat. All right. Mr. Chair. Number 2, presentation by the FindFood Bank and acceptance of proclamation.
Mayor, City Council members, city staff, 29 Palms community. My name is Debbie Espinosa, and I am the president and CEO of FindFood Bank. We are the regional food bank in the Feeding America system that serves the southeastern section of California, or the desert region, as we all know and love it, based out of Indio, California. But we do a lot of work up here in the high desert because it's important to make sure that there's equitable food distribution that's free and healthy to the people that are struggling and most in need. There's so many people here up in the high desert. In fact, we have a fact sheet for you that we are presenting to you today to give you the state of hunger in your community here in 29 Palms, but then also let you know how we've been helping up here in 29 Palms, as well as supporting many of your local nonprofit organizations that are also helping too as well, to make sure that people know where their next meal is coming from. Right now, you have about 17.1% of your community, based on the USDA and the U.S. Census data, that shows that there might be people wondering where they're going to get their 3 square meals a day. For us, it's important that they know that there are resources that are available to them. For us, what we do is we make sure that we send a healthy supply of food up here to the high desert so that your nonprofit organizations don't have to go down to Indio. We actually bring it all the way up here to Copper Mountain Community College, where they can stock and fill their local pantries in order to be able to have your community not have to go anywhere else but here 29 Palms to be able to receive what they need. In this past 12 months, we've actually supplied over 241,000 pounds of free food here into your city. And through that, we've been able to serve thousands of people in the community. Additionally, we just did a partnership event with the military base here at 29 Palms to make sure that their families were able to receive free and fresh and healthy food right on the military base, so they didn't even have to go far out into the areas in order to be able to receive it. So for us, it's important to always make sure that we are keeping you engaged and in touch with what is happening in your community, to let you know how good of a job that your community is doing with the local pantries that are up here, making sure that they have fresh food available and access for people to be able to receive it, so they don't have to leave your area in order to know where they're getting their next meal coming from. And then to also thank you for all wearing orange today, because September is Hunger Action Month. And nationwide, many of the cities throughout the United States are lighting up in orange. Their city council halls, Empire State Building, these large monuments that we all know and love, and all of our cities in the desert are lighting up orange too as well. And so we really appreciate you recognizing that this month in orange is to bring awareness that there are still people that are in need, that you as the city of 29 Palms recognize that and are here to be able to help and support those that are looking for services, and that we continue to partner and engage with you as FindFood Bank, the regional food bank in your city, so people know that they are supported and don't have to suffer in silence by themselves. Thank you. I'm here to answer any questions that you may have as well, and we would love to get a picture of all of us very quickly too as well, to post on social media to show how the city of 29 Palms really supports making sure that people can access healthy foods when they're in need.
All right. Go
Mr.
ahead.
Mayor, I have a question. What are the 5 agencies that you help? It says you do partner with 5 agencies. Which ones are they?
You know what? I apologize. I don't. We serve over 100 nonprofit organizations in our region, and so I don't have the names here with me right now. But I'm very happy to be able to provide that to you and send those up to you, so you can recognize them
You can
as well.
Just contact the city manager if you don't mind. Just shoot him an email. He'll shoot it to us. Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right. I have a proclamation for you.
Oh,
Here we go.
fantastic.
City of 29 Palms Proclamation, Hunger Action Month. Whereas hunger and poverty are issues of vital concern in California, where 20% of people facing hunger and 1 of every 4 children do not know where their next meal will come from. And whereas the City of 29 Palms of California is committed to taking steps to combat hunger in every part of our community and to provide additional resources for those in 29 Palms need. And whereas the month of September has been designated Hunger Action Month, in order to bring attention to food insecurity in our communities and to enlist the public to fight in the end hunger by taking action, including volunteer shifts, social media shares, and donations, to ensure nobody has to make an impossible choice between food or other necessities like medicine, utilities, childcare, and whereas the food banks across the country, including the members of the FindFood Bank, will host numerous events throughout the month of September to bring awareness to the help to end hunger in their local community. Now, therefore, I, Stephen Bilder, on behalf of the City Council, I do hereby recognize September 2024 as Hunger Action Month in our city of 29 Palms, California, and I call this observance to the attention of all citizens, dated this 10th day, September 2024.
Thank you.
Give us one of those. We could do that next year. The shirt? Yeah. Oh, okay. She said she could get us one of those. We could get those for next year.
I would. Here we go. Council comments and reports of meetings attended. Councilmember Scott.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I've just been meeting with constituents and nothing to report. I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. I attended the Morongo Basin White Foundation dinner. You were there as well.
All right. Councilmember Wright.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I attended the pep rally for Warhawks football, and also we had our first game Saturday down in DHS. It was just really hot. 2 of our teams won and 2 lost, so we're doing all right, kicking the season off. And then I want to congratulate the Youth Council and thank you guys for what you're doing. It's greatly appreciated. And also thank FindFood Bank for what all you do for the community. Thank you. It's greatly appreciated. And then the last thing I got, well, actually next to the last thing, first I want to wish my son, the third child, a happy birthday. The day is his birthday. And I want to wish my wife a happy anniversary today, 39 years. So, love you.
She needs a medal. All right.
Yeah, I already told her. I gave it to her.
All right. Councilmember Mintz.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, before I am remiss in doing this, thank you, Youth Council. You guys had to start off from scratch. And I want to thank staff, Officer Amy, and all the Park and Rec staff who's been pushing you guys along and getting this thing going. So thank you. I also went to the prep rally at the Felix Field. It was fun watching all the youth football players and parents. They were all pretty excited about the season. Had a air quality meeting, and as everybody knows, the air right now is not very good. Obviously, the line fire is affecting all of us. A few things. There's grant funds that are available throughout the basin, and we're getting some money up here in 29 Palms. The 29 Palms Liquor and Gas are going to get 2 dual fast chargers, and that's at a cost of $185,000. And that's a grant that they got from the air quality. The High Desert Medical Center is going to get 4 level 2 EV chargers for $71,000. And then one more. Oh, the cemetery. Part of this, these grants that they give out every year is they'll help replace old electric vehicles. They're replacing their 1970 dump truck with a brand new electric UTV at the cost of over $18,000. So those are the kind of monies that are going back into our city through the Air Quality Board. Also, another note, I kind of been touching on a little bit about the EPA giving us a hard time, and so the board, we actually sued the EPA, and we won. We beat the federal government because they were not going by their own rules. The agency was kind of making up things as they went along. We called them out on it, and we actually won. We went to the 9th District Court in San Francisco, and our case was good, and we won. So that's good for the whole. That was good for the whole Inland Empire, because basically what the lawsuit was about was that if people in manufacturing had old equipment and they wanted to replace it, if they went with what the EPA was just kind of just throwing out, it wouldn't have been financially or for them to do it. So they just would have said, forget it, won't expand, we won't put in new equipment. So that's what our air quality is doing for us, so our board. So thank you.
Councilmember Mintz, are they still accepting old lawnmowers and weed eaters and stuff like that?
I'd have to check the website. I think it's almost
over?
done, but what is it, September?
September.
It might go, I think it goes to October. Just have to go to the website. You go to the
MDAQMD?
MDAQMD website, and it tells you all what's available. Unfortunately, I think you have to take it to either Victorville or Hesperia, your other gas-powered, but you get a free one. You get a free battery-operated unit.
Mayor Pro Tem Cleet.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, it is the first meeting in September, so I'd like to wish everybody here in 29 Palms in the Morongo Basin a happy birthday. Is anybody out there celebrating a birthday in September? His wife? All right. I was just going to wish you a special happy birthday because you're here for the meeting. Okay, I also attended the pep rally for the Warhawks. Go Warhawks, and I did lead them in a song out there, being the singing mayor, so I had to do that. I went to the Basin-Wide Foundation as well, and the city of 29 Palms received the President's Award for 2024. And this is the president of the Basin-Wide Foundation gave it to us for the Freedom Plaza, the addition to Freedom Plaza, and all the things we're doing around town. So we appreciate that very much. I went to the SBCTA meeting in San Bernardino last Wednesday. Express lanes is on the agenda a lot because there's going to be new express lanes out there, so be careful if you're going from San Bernardino to LA. They're going to be there, and you have to have that little whatever they have to not get charged. So be careful. And I would like to thank all the youths that have come out to give up their time to make 29 Palms better for the youth. We are anxious to see what other things you can come up with to help you guys make it better. But we want to thank you from the bottom of our heart for coming out and doing that for us. We appreciate it. And thank you, Octavius, for bringing it to our attention to have one.
Here we go. First, I want to tell my son happy birthday. He's 24, and he's like 3 years younger than me, so it's weird in my own mind. I went to the Morongo, the Basin-Wide Foundation honor for the dinner and the award, meeting with citizens, and while everyone was at the Warhawks pep rally, I got the pleasure Saturday to go watch one of the former Pop Warner kids play one of his home games for Oregon State. So one of our local kids is playing some D1 football, so I got to go root him on with 50 other 29 Palmsers rooting one of our former Pop Warner kids going on. So that was a pleasure to see a 2-9 kid out there making some big hits. Yes. Want to thank the City Works and the staff from the last rain that we had on Saturday. They attacked it. We're getting pretty good at this, so I wish we weren't, but we're getting really good. But I want to thank all them for everything they're doing. And the Youth Council, I'm glad to see it up and running. It was an idea in 2019, but then we had COVID. Everything went to the table, and then we brought it back. So it looks pretty good. You guys are doing an amazing job, and the future looks very, very bright for City of 29 Palms. Anything else up here? All right, here we go. Moving on. Consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are to be considered routine by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion in the form listed. Any items may be removed from the consent calendar and considered separately by the City Council. The public will be given an opportunity to comment on the consent calendar items prior to the City Council actions. Up here, anybody? No. Anyone in the public? All right, back up here for a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Councilmember Mintz,
Aye.
Councilmember Wright,
Aye.
Councilmember Scott,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Klink,
Aye.
Mayor Bildering.
Aye.
Approved 5-0.
Nothing removed, nothing in public hearing, discussion, potential action items. Number 7, designation of delegate of annual Cal City Conference recommendations.
Okay, you all know this is an annual thing where everybody is going and attending. We just need a delegate and an alternate delegate to be present at the meetings, to listen to the resolutions that they will present and help vote on those resolutions. So do I have a nomination or someone willing to do so?
I want to stay the whole time, so if anybody else wants to do it, that's fine, but I'll be there the whole time.
I'm sorry,
You're saying you will be there the whole time?
Yeah, unless, I mean, this is your first one, so if you want to be there for the very
Yeah, it's
very
been a
end.
while since I've been in the LBC. I'll go ahead and I'll be one.
Okay.
Yep.
You'll be the alternate?
Yep.
Everyone in favor?
Aye.
And alternate delegate?
Aye.
Ooh. He's a delegate. I need an alternate delegate.
I'm the delegate.
Oh, so Danny will be the alternate.
I'll do the alternate.
You?
Sure.
Danny, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye
Thank
again.
you. Alternate. And Councilmember Scott is the alternate. Thank you.
That's a lot. 16.
Right. Number 8, entertainment permits.
Mr. Mayor, I have to accuse myself from this item because obviously it's a definite conflict of interest for my business.
Yes.
Here? No. Here? Hold on.
Thank you, Mayor. Our Community Development Director, Keith Gardner, is going to give the presentation and lead the discussion this evening.
Pardon me while I get the technology figured out
See
here.
if it works. If not, just let me know.
Okay, let's go to the next slide. Recently, we as city staff have received several applications for temporary event permits for entertainment for venues that may not be appropriate for the location or the expected crowds. We were able to work through those issues. And it's also come to the city's attention that several forms of quote-unquote live entertainment are already occurring in several various establishments. Public safety is our city's primary concern, along with law enforcement and fire protection standards. We want to make sure the live entertainment is definitely held in a safe manner. If we can go to the next slide. According to the current development code, live entertainment is listed as either an administrative use permit or a conditional use permit in the various commercial zones. So it's listed as allowable use, but if we go to the next slide, and we also recognize that regularly scheduled entertainment can be a huge boon to local establishments, especially the smaller ones. But the cost of these entertainment permits currently ranges anywhere between $2,000 and $5,000, depending on the size of the venue and the zone that they're in. So you could go to the next slide. In general, the city staff wants to encourage entertainment. We want to be business friendly to this type of activity. It is staff's opinion that the current regulations are too onerous and too expensive. So if we could go to the next slide. So we're asking that the city council direct us as city staff to work with the business community, law enforcement, fire protection services, planning commission, and any other interested parties to come up with a better definition of live entertainment. What does that actually mean? And to work with interested parties to come up with reasonable policies pertaining to live entertainment and bring them back to the city council. And we're also recommending, since these fees are currently $2,000 to $5,000, that anyone who wants to come in now to get an entertainment permit, that we waive these fees, or drastically reduce, but I'm suggesting we waive them for now. So that's our recommendation.
Any questions up here?
I think it's a great idea. I think that that's definitely something that we should be looking at so that it's not too cumbersome to do business in 29 Palms. And I've had some constituents that have reached out to me via email, and they've also expressed the same thing.
It's a, I don't know what you call it, regulation or something on the type of live entertainment, ain't it?
That's one of the issues in the development code.
Keith, could you pull the microphone closer
Yeah,
to
sorry about that. So that's one of the current struggles we have right now, is the development code doesn't define what that is. So someone who is very strict about reading the code could interpret it one way that it was not intended. So we want to consolidate that and say, well, this is actually what that means.
So if we do that and somebody's doing something that we end up saying you can't do,
We're gonna have to work through what exactly live entertainment is and it is not. So, yeah, and there's gonna be some establishments that, by their nature may be exempt. For instance, places of faith may be considered exempt because of the nature of their operations. So those are nuances we're going to have to work through by working through the business community and coming up with something reasonable.
yeah, so the point I'm getting at is, say for example, I want to do a live entertainment and then it comes out that that live entertainment is not authorized, but I already got my permit.
So you're saying you have a permit, but you're doing something that
The live entertainment is not authorized.
not live,
And
but if you already have a permit, yeah. We're going to have to work through some of these issues, is what I'm trying to say, is because it's not clear on the code.
that's why it shouldn't be waived.
And that's why we're trying to waive the fees and make it
That's
more
why we're
business
waiving the
friendly.
fees, so if it does end up being unauthorized and they didn't pay anything and their permit gets
Okay, got it.
Microphone.
I was just explaining to him.
Thank you.
No,
Is that clear? I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
thank you.
Councilman.
I got
Got it now.
Yeah, that's why I'm waiting for mine. All right.
Do you want me to say
Public,
it?
anything? Ooh, all the little green flag.
Well,
Come
y'all are supposed to give 'em
on.
to me. Eric, if you,
I didn't call your name.
Oh, you said public.
Where's your sheet? Okay, calm down. Smart ass.
I'm trying to make sure they're all that item.
Oh, you got two 8 and 10 for you? You have 8, you're doing 8 and 10? No, I just want to make sure I don't file it and then also 8 and 10s? Okay.
She's not here.
You want me to go first to Susan? So I'm reading this for Susan Peplow regarding entertainment permits. Not so fast. I may be away, but I would like to share some thoughts to tonight's agenda. While speaking with Mr. Garner, a driving force for the live entertainment permit recommendation is for safety purposes. Should the council choose to explore the suggestion, please consider the following. The city does not offer any promotion for new businesses or startups. For economic growth, I would encourage waiving all fees for new businesses and existing anchors alike. Do not let fees be a barrier to entry for participation. It could be the difference between making it or not. Make sure they're easy to apply. Annual permit is recommended. No need for the specification of days or type of events. Keep it simple. Restaurants or venues that have already complied with safety inspection, egress requirements, and posted occupancy should receive full access administrative permit issuance without additional fees or inspections. Building compliance concerns should be adapted with a matrix of configuration and size. Shop size X equals XX occupancy to be determined by the planning and or fire department. Identify what is live entertainment. Would sound bath or paint and sip require a permit? How much oversight does the city want to take on? For example, what's the difference between karaoke night and public speaking class provided noise, safety, and occupancy space requirements are met? A study session. A study session with business owners is recommended. Feedback from actual stakeholders on ease of application and process will set expectations, encourage compliance. Strategic planning reflects the necessity of business development. Our local shops and eateries seek community enjoyment and tourism support. Our business owners are deploying artistic and creative methods to market and thinking outside of the box. Several have received event grants and scheduled activities for year-round enjoyment for locals and visitors alike. Is imposing costly or cumbersome entertainment permits the path we want to take? I realize some cities require event permits, but there are many that do not. By example, in Berkeley, a permit is only required when hosted or overflows onto a city street or park, similar to what we have been requiring. So I ask again, what is the goal of such a permit, and are we trying to fix something that's not broken? So that's what Susan had to say. I will keep it simple for me. I think it's good to clean up the code and clarify what we're trying to do. I just hope that we can work with downtown businesses to make sure, and all businesses alike, to make sure it's not cost prohibitive. I think $2,000 to $4,000 is what I think that's even high. So it would be nice to kind of clarify what are we talking there, maybe define it a little better. And that's pretty much all I have to say on that one. So thank you.
All right. Caitlin Gill?
My name is Caitlin Gill. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank the city for the support granted to our organization, 229 and Beyond, an event that was a success beyond our imagination earlier this year in June. We held a weekend-long event, sold out both days, packed crowds, just under 200 people. For scale, the cost of permitting that event would have been greater than our headliners were paid, greater than the rent that we paid for the venue, and greater than any single producer received for organizing the event. It just would have been cost prohibitive, but the windfall from that event benefited our community and the businesses located in it. It's not just money, it's reputation, it's prestige, and it's encouraging more people to plan around events that could happen here. So I do hope that the city continue to support the growth of events and businesses in this community, understanding that the scale of this community is beautifully small. We're never going to be big enough to, and I don't think any of us want events full of so many thousands of people that it would support the kind of costs that these permits currently present. So thank you for the support. Our own organization wants to continue to grow and expand, and we're excited to see how the city supports us in that direction. Thank you.
Thank you. Ted Quinn, am I saying that right?
Thank you for allowing me to speak today, and I'm really encouraged by the recommendations of your staff. I am a little bit concerned about what is defined as live entertainment. That could be very different according to you and according to me, you know. So I'm going to read a letter. I wrote it when I was feeling a little bit passionate the other night when I first heard about this meeting. I would love to be home watching the debate, as I'm sure many of the people here would like. I'm here to implore the town council to waive or at least drastically reduce the entertainment permit fees in order to bring local businesses into compliance. And I'd like to share a little bit of history. This has to do with open mics. In the early 2000s, there was one place in Joshua Tree called the Beatnik that had an open mic night weekly, and it attracted veterans, and it attracted musicians from the Marine base to our little place in Joshua Tree. A year or two later, Pappy and Harriet started one. It ran successfully for 15 years. And as the crowds got larger and larger, more and more people heard about it, came from all over the world to attend this thing. And we started getting people like Kesha and Feist and First Aid Kit showing up to the open mics. From that popularity that happened, people like Paul McCartney decided to play there at Pappy and Harriet's. Now it's a very world famous venue, but it really was assisted in that growth by the open mics. The same thing happened at the Joshua Tree Saloon, which 15, 16 years ago, you were as likely to get in a knife fight there as you were to get a hamburger. Now it's a family-oriented establishment, and a lot of that had to do with the open mic, bringing the local community together to attend these weekly events. So I have a lot at stake. I've been in this town for 30 years and involved in open mics for 25 of them, and I found that they draw a lot of the people that are here today. A lot of artists and musicians have moved here because there's a vibrant live music scene. And especially during the pandemic, I don't know how many hundreds of musicians moved to this area, but they're helping the economy. They go to the restaurants, they buy the food, they buy the drinks, they bring their family. My family visits me from Los Angeles and other places around the country. And it can only be good for the community to make it as easy for these establishments to do this sort of live entertainment as you can. And hopefully you'll make the right decision, and thank you very much for letting me speak. I'm not going to read my letter, but thank you.
Thank you. Janelle Angels.
Good evening, Council. Good evening, everyone. My name is Angeles. Tonight I'm speaking regarding the enforcement of entertainment permits. I am a poet and a writer who has lived in 29 Palms since 2018. I have personally found local events such as open mics, book readings, karaoke, dance performances, and live reading performances to have been crucial to my development as a poet. It was because of one of these open mics, there is now a monthly poetry page for writers in the Joshua Tree Voice magazine. I was their first feature, and I became the editor of that page. The value of these events cannot be measured. Requiring permits of local businesses when they offer platforms for artists of all mediums is negligent to the community you have vowed to support. It contributes to making art inaccessible to the people of 29 Palms by financially stressing local establishments. These establishments are safe places for the community, and you would be stripping them of their safety. I urge you to follow the direction of the staff report and waive live entertainment application fees. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you. I apologize now. Vandim Altuslur, please tell me how to pronounce it. Exactly what I was thinking. All right.
Thank you. Thank you, Council. Thank you, my fellow townsfolk. So I moved to 29 Palms over 5 years ago. Since that time, I've got my son born here, being raised here. So thank you for the opportunity to talk. So I write down a little bit, so I'm not kind of like a spokesman, so excuse my, yeah. So I'm here to talk on behalf of, artists and musicians, as I'm being one as well myself. And I just want to let you know that we rely on open mics, on karaoke nights, local performances, because those events, they're not just like entertainment or like live entertainment. They're vital spaces for expression, especially in small desert city like ours, where we don't have that many theaters or cinemas or music clubs or just places where people can meet each other, like share their passion for creativity. And I think that's these small, intimate events are where people gather to share their stories, express their creativity and concerns, form connections. But now with permits ranging from what it was like 2,100 to 5,000, we're essentially just pricing out free expression of those people. Many of these events run on passion and not profit, and slapping, like high price tag on them isn't just harmful. I believe it's like silencing voices, in fact. So, as Dr. Martin Luther King said, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. So, as this matters in a city like ours, I believe where we don't have grand stages and abundant resources, those small venues are lifeline for expression for local people. And by imposing those fears, we're putting a price on speech. That's something none of us should stand for. So I propose a compromise of exemptions, of some sort of waivers for smaller community events, for things, so-called grassroots activities, non-profit. So, I mean, those are not like large commercial productions. When we say live entertainment, you start thinking about, all those lights and smoke machines and, like gigawatts of sound. That's like nothing like that is happening. Now, of course, when something like that is happening, there are some other regulations around. So it's not just like, something that just happens out of nowhere. So let's keep our community vibrant and, like free in expression. And that's what originally brought me to this place, like the place that I now call home after years. And let's continue to foster this creative, vibrant community and not put a price tag for free speech. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Stacy? What's your last name, ma'am? Solely. Okay, I see it now.
Hi, thank you so much for this opportunity to speak. I just want to support what others have said, that open mics and live performance is the beating heartbeat of this community. I was not a musician when I moved here, and I started playing drums, so I could just speak for myself that I first performed at an open mic spontaneously, and it changed my life. And now I've been in so many different bands and have met so many hundreds of people and performed with a lot of people in this room, and it's given meaning and passion to my life in a way that I didn't have it before. So I'm all for reducing the barriers to entry and proliferating open mics and live entertainment at every possible venue. It's only created more community and more empowerment and more love and more connection from what I've witnessed. Thank you.
Thank you. Lolly Goodwoman?
Hi
everyone. My name's Lolly Goodwoman. I have an overactive appetite for sex and marijuana, and my band is called Stage Fright, and thank you so much for having me here tonight. Give it up for all the previous performers tonight. Everyone who spoke so lovely, and thank all y'all for the very important work that you do. It's very meaningful to be here, and I really appreciate whoever noticed this absurd rule and brought it to our attention, because now we have the opportunity to get rid of it, and we're all here together remembering how important live performance is, not just for this community, but for being a human being. I mean, how long have we been putting on shows, right, in this community? Well, if you go by cave paintings, it's roughly 40,000 years that we've been putting on shows. And well, if you go, okay, this space wasn't exactly inhabitable that long ago, well, when the Waive and the Serrano and the Mojave were here doing their shows, that's 10, 12,000 years ago. And then if we're just talking about like our modern bar venue kind of stuff, that's like early 1900s. And I would like to just ask you all, how many fires have broken out during a live performance? Well, we'll just start with the last 100 years or so. 0, exactly. No, that's never happened. Not even one fire. And then on record in the entire state of California, actually, I couldn't find a single fire that broke out during a show, except for one time the Hollywood Bowl, some palm trees caught on fire in the parking lot, and they got put out quickly. I'm probably going over my time. Anyway, thanks Smashing Muffins for being a great band and also getting us all out here tonight on social media. And my suggestion is no permits necessary, maybe unless you have like 500 people or more, 1,000 people or more, something. Real easy, simple like that. We don't need this permit thing at all. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Pauline Pisano.
Hi, everyone. My name is Pauline Pisano. I use the pronoun she, her, hers. I'm a social worker and community organizer and cultural arts organizer. I believe that the cultural arts organizing is preventative medicine. It's a means to create communities and systems of care. The 1947 Constitution of the World Health Organization states, health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. With this in mind, the World Health Organization has always long used the arts and its work on health promotion and communication. Anthropology has shown that in early human history, art, religion, and healing evolved in the same social space. In 2019, the World Health Organization began testing arts interventions to advance specific health goals, including universal health coverage, mental health, and suicide prevention. I agree with the staff that these fees for our live entertainment spaces should be waived. It is preventative medicine for our communities. And finally, I would like to read a statement by the Poet Laureate of Los Angeles from a decade ago, Luis J. Rodriguez, and he says, humans are capable of great transcendence, able to go beyond material and often man-made constraints. We become vessels for the unseen with the power to overcome prisons of mind and soul that chain our capacities. Reconnection, realignment, and rethinking are part of the process. With this process, success is a likely outcome. Not only do I feel like should the fees be waived, but also we should be celebrating the cultural arts in our communities. It keeps our communities safer. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sherry Greer.
Hello, esteemed council and friends. Thank everyone for coming out and speaking, as always, participating in our political arena. I also am in favor of fees being waived, but what caught my eye was the issue in the staff report about safety features. And my question, if that's allowed, is how is it different if you have a capacity of 100 people in a bar with a jukebox than 100 people in a bar with a folk singer or a poet reading or a book reading. I don't think that different measures should be asked for, like fire sprinklers, or suddenly they've got to have an ADA handicap stall because there's a band there now. And I'm saying this because I know so many musicians who have come together and formed new bands, made new music, and created new things that are what is drawing people to our businesses. And I don't want to see any regulations put in the way of the businesses who are trying to make a living as best they can. And if they've come up with open mics or a karaoke night, God bless them. Let them. It's helping everybody. So I would like to see it simply be dropped, unless there is something like someone mentioned, a large event, something that's going to require, you know, porta potties brought in or something. Of course, you got to look at safety for that. But just a regular night, a Monday night at Ground Squirrel, let them have it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Vino?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, my name is Easy.
That last name, Mr. Vino, I'm not gonna hit that last name.
Vino stands for good wine, and some folks don't like wine. That's fine. I like what staff is doing. They are actually concerned about life and safety. Life and safety is important. You know, I'm in the hotel business, and I've seen people get lost in the hotel and lose their lives because life and safety was not taken into consideration. When I first came into town, I was the first person to happen to introduce fire sprinklers, fire alarm in my hotels, and those days it was not even heard of in the town. What I don't like, Mr. Mayor, is the fees. The fees are astronomically high. Sometime I'd like you all to take the small business person's position, run a hot dog stand and see what it takes to make a buck. And asking somebody to pay $2,100 to $2,500, you know how many tickets they have to sell at $2,500 just to make that permit fees that you want. Now, not only these fees, I'm actually noticing every cities, and I do business in other cities as well. Looks like y'all are in direct competition today with a small business person, where you want to gouge them on fees. We need to stop that. Let the small business people prosper in town. I mean, they actually happen to create jobs. They bring in people, and you want to go ahead and strangle them even before they can come. Thanks.
Thank you. I have a letter from Graham Colbins in opposition of the current policy. Is that another one? Is that for 8? All right. That's Karen Harper.
Hello. Thank you for taking my number 8. Okay, question I wanted to ask. I own a small business, and sometimes in the parking lot, we have activities. So I was wondering, since we have like music out there, and you're talking about fees, if we have like just, you know, some music, a speaker, is that gonna be considered tax that you would, we would have to get a permit for? Is it something like that going on? I'm sorry, I probably caught the tail end of it, but I'm just trying to find that out.
Basically, what we're saying is we think the existing regulations are too onerous and too expensive. So if in this particular instance, it has to do with live entertainment.
Only live.
Live.
Okay.
So that's how the ordinance reads, and we think it should be revisited and clarified for small business people especially.
Okay, so to have a speaker and music, we're good? Nothing changed? No permit?
Well, we haven't really made a decision on that yet. That's what staff's recommendation is. I would say, though, a lot of our constituents have came out and have voiced their concerns about these fees being cumbersome. And so me personally, I obviously can't speak for the entire council, but I would definitely look at I would definitely look at not having fees for live entertainment.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that clarity, because I was outside.
Sir? Mr. Rice? Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, thanks for bringing this up. I'm Carl Rice, and longtime resident here. I'm also somebody that's got some health issues going on, and I'm somebody that's also been in recovery for 30 years. And I've been out here for a long time, and I've seen this town in some desperation in the past. And what I've seen recently is 29 come in and bulldoze their Main Street and get ready for a new plan. And what I experience, I love living out here. It's great, you know, and I'm experiencing way more sense of community here. That's a lot more healthy. And, you know, I've worked on base a lot with some guys that aren't extremely healthy. And we like to go out and see music. Some of us play music. And we like to go to places where it's not really a bar. You know, I like to go to a coffee shop and hear people play music at whatever level it is. And I see where this is all going, you know, and sure, I would encourage big fees for like huge venues. I mean, that would make total sense. You need safety, you need fire department. I've been a part of that. I'm a retired stuntman. I've done big productions. I know what it takes to do that. But when you're talking about people here that run a little coffee shop or reading some poetry, I would highly encourage you to waive all those fees. At one level, all of these people are bringing in all the people that are going to make you guys rich. You know, and I've seen it in LA, and I've seen the gentrification, and they're the ones that are going to bring that. And then we're all going to move away and say how great that place was. So during this time, while I'm at an open mic right now, there's a mic in front of me, I would highly encourage you to waive that and let these small business people do their thing. Thanks.
Thank you. And for the record, he means the city will become rich, not us. Just make that really clear. It goes back
I was
to
going to
the
say that
city,
too.
Yeah, yeah. Just want to make that clear. People listening. All right. You all get out there. All right. Back up here.
Thank you, Mayor. I will let you know for sure that I will not vote for anything higher or anything even close to 2,100 to 5,000. That's way too much. I myself, if I were to do it and vote now, because we don't have it yet, they're going to be doing it, Planning Commission and everybody, I would say no fees. However, we do have to have the fire department. We do have to have the police department. If anything happens at your business while you're doing these open mics and everything, so there should be a small fee, a security fee like $250, $100, $250, okay? You have to definitely have the right capacity in there at all times. Don't go over it, because then you're in violation of that permit. You can't go over the capacity. ADA, a lady said that you have to have ADA. Well, everybody should have ADA by this time. I had a business and I didn't own the business, but I had to fork out some money because they didn't have it. So it is a must to have that. You can't just say, you know, that you can't have that. But I, for one, will definitely vote for the lowest permit. If it's 0, I'm voting for it. It's 100, I'm voting for it. 250, I'm voting for it. But I don't think I would go anything over that. But that's my opinion, and when they bring it back to us, we can discuss that as well.
Anyone else?
Yeah. My biggest concern is just when they start actually identifying entertainment. And if it's an entertainment that's not authorized, then they need to understand that they're going to have to cease and desist. That's it. And I agree, you know, the fee is way too high because it's just too high. So yeah, I agree with, you know, waiving it or a low fee like Joe said. But that's my biggest thing is just the right entertainment.
And I just want to clarify really quickly. As of right now, the permits as they stand would be a one and done. In other words, they would not be annually renewed. It's you apply for it once, and you get entertainment. Say you're gonna have live music on Friday and Saturday nights from 6 to 10, and then forever you don't have to come back and get it renewed. It's just whatever you just identify as your entertainment, as long as you comply with it, and that's what you have.
But a way for it to be revoked and all that.
If they don't comply with noise and times of day and things like that. These are things we need to work out through the process.
Thank you for.
So may I contribute to that conversation there real quick? I think Mr. Gardner brings out something that I think is an important point, and there might be a little bit of confusion in the community. At least, one person had reached out, and that is, as Mr. Gardner said, that the whole concept of this fee was a one-time fee. It was not a fee to be charged at every event. That was a one-time fee, and those one-time fees really are about covering the staff costs to go out, evaluate the facility, identify what the capacities are, make sure doors open out as opposed to open in. So if there was any confusion in the community, I appreciate you clarifying that. And then, of course, now council is also saying, hey, how can we reduce that one-time fee? But I think it's just real important that this is not a per event or per year fee or anything like that. Thank you.
Thank you for that. There's a lot of people in the community, though, that have concerns about, do I have to pay this one-time fee if I'm only going to do this one time, right? And so there's a lot of people here that, they're not going to have, live entertainment every Friday. They might just want to do live entertainment that one time for whatever specific reason that is. And I think that that's definitely something that we can look at waiving. But I think the staff is correct. What we need to do is we need to actually let's define it first. What does live entertainment look like? Because the person at their little coffee shop, if they want to have someone come and play a little guitar or something, I don't know if that really warrants these fees. And so I just want to thank staff, and I want to thank everyone that came out and expressed their thoughts and concerns about this. This is exactly the type of community engagement that this city needs, and I appreciate that.
And I encourage all of you to, when they start doing it at the planning commission, to go to the planning commission meetings and let them know what you want.
Really good. All right. Well, we'll finish off right now. As an inspiring stand-up comic, I believe in open mic night, so I'm all about it. But I'm on all the time. But like karaoke night is not a live, so that should not even be part of the conversation.
And that's something we need to really
so
define.
when you guys do this, got to get categories of what live entertainment is, because like Rockies has their stuff that goes on, and when I do my family dinners, there's more of my people showing up in some of the events, so there shouldn't be like, and we're more rowdier. They probably need a permit for my family going in there to have so. But there's certain things that go on in the community that happen every Friday, taco night at the golf course. Those shouldn't be considered live events and poetry reading, all that stuff. We're talking about like fans has karaoke night and has a little small band. That's not the crowd. You're not over your max occupancy. You're not doing any fire code, any violations. So when the committee gets together, we got to put this in categories like these are just normal activities of entertainment. These are big activities. We have stages and lights and porta potties but the fees automatic. Just waive those. When you get your committee together and get some small business expertise involved, find a way to say yes. Find a way to make them make money and not take money. Like if we started doing permits and all that stuff, then we're paying for our admin fees for our people working behind the scenes. Fine, let's just find that line. But that outrageous prices, and these people are not going to make that much money. They're paying for their fees. They got to have 5 events.
It's the waste of time in applying for any permit at all. It's the waste of time that this council is going to spend debating what's the performance of what's
Ma'am.
Stephen told a lot of great jokes tonight. Do we need a permit for this event?
Ma'am, you had 3 minutes.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. I love your passion. So when you do your committee, just make sure we figure this out and how to make it say yes and make this for our small business to succeed and be successful.
Yeah,
And-
that's the entire goal anyway.
And then the permits and the fees would be those big events where we got to get fire department involved and all the security elements, and that's when it gets costly. All right, so that's my recommendation. I hope those planning commissioners are probably listening. I know there's one here. They have the guidance. So any more questions, please do not hesitate to ask us for our guidance. So I think that's our direction. Let's make it happen. Find a way to say yes, save money.
Okay, and so my next step is I'm going to take this forward as a workshop before the Planning Commission next week.
Okay.
And that'll be our first step to try to get this more defined and clarified. And to your point, the existing regulations just don't make any bit of sense.
Yeah, got you.
And they're way too expensive.
And thank you, everyone who came out for this. I mean, we're all on your side, but we got to do our dual process as a community to make sure you get your voices heard, even though we were behind you from day one, from when we got the agenda. But we want to hear your voices, and we want to make sure everyone has the dual right to say what they feel. So thank you.
And Mayor, can I contribute one thing?
Yeah.
And then also, Mr. Gardner, is the Planning Commission meeting next week, that workshop, would that be an opportunity for people to come and voice their opinion like they did tonight?
Yeah, absolutely.
Very good. And then that will be published on our city website in terms of the time and, of course, this
Right,
location
and now that
here.
I have the City Council direction, we'll get that report generated for tomorrow for publishing either tomorrow or Thursday.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mintz. Number 9, self-help housing project status update. Oh, Tim.
Good evening, Council, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Council members. Thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening. And so tonight's presentation is really going to be about I'm going to get my water here in a minute, really about a self-build project that the Council had previously contemplated through a organization called CVHC, Coachella Valley Housing Coalition. So I'm going to go get my water. Cindy, could you go to the next slide, please? Okay, so CVHC. What is CVHC to begin with? CVHC is a local nonprofit organization that's based in the Coachella Valley. It's been around for decades, and they build different types of affordable housing. They build traditional affordable housing, which is stereotypically attached, and it's for rent, and it's deed restricted for 55 years. They've got a number of projects throughout the Coachella Valley and Imperial County. And then they also do this self-build concept. So self-build, what is it? So essentially, if a family qualifies, they've got a lot, family qualifies, what that family is doing is they are providing their physical labor as kind of sweat equity for the build. And so in the next slide, you'll see here, they've got the requirement for a family to participate is that they dedicate 40 hours per week, and for a total, generally speaking, per house of about 1,500 hours that they would have to dedicate towards the construction of the house. Now, they're not just going to receive a lot and a set of plans and say good luck. CVHC is going to provide some direction. They're going to provide some core contractors to help them through some of the challenging things. But this is really an opportunity for families to participate in the construction of a home they're ultimately going to own. So really, it's quite candidly, it's a beautiful thing. It allows individuals, they have to be below the median income. I want to say it's about 80% of the average median income, which is something that's determined by the county. And so we'll just go through the slide here and we'll talk some about this. Could you go up one here real quick? One prior to that. Perfect. Okay, so how do they qualify? They have to have good credit status. The website said stable limits. I think they meant to put stable income. And then also they have to have that low income qualification. And then they have to have the ability to commit to the labor requirement. Thankfully, they can have family members, they can have friends and family help out meeting that 1,500 hour or that 40 hour a week requirement. Next slide, please. How do you enroll? This process was totally through CVHC. And so when CVHC has lots like they have down in the Salton Sea or the Imperial County, people will apply through their website. City, the municipality, or the agency jurisdiction is not involved in that. And so really this is all CVHC. So when you say, when do they start a project? So CVHC, when they have the lots, they typically want to group the people coming together to build houses. And so in an ideal world, once they have 10 qualified families in order to build a project, that's when they'll begin construction. That's when they'll start having the wood dropped, the foundations poured, and that's when those respective families will work on their individual homes. This typically takes, depending on the area, 6 to 12 months. First time that Salton Sea, their project, it took about 12 months for them to find enough family members, enough qualified families to begin their project. So they successfully built out that project. They said, hey, this is a success. It was a proof of concept down in Salton Sea. So then they came up with some more lots. This time it only took them 6 months to find the 10 qualified buyers that they were able then to begin construction. So how do they find it? Obviously through the website, they've got advertising. How difficult is it to find buyers? Based on CVHC feedback, they have to interview, they screen about 30 applicants for every one family that can qualify. Next slide, please. And so what is the benefit of a self-build program? One of the benefits is it increases homeownership rates. It takes a family who would have been a renter and it now gives them a home in which they can raise a family and live a life. Increases housing stability. As anyone with a mortgage knows, hopefully it's not a variable interest rate. If you have a fixed interest rate loan, you know what you're going to pay for. You know what you're going to pay going forward. You don't have to worry about the landlord increasing your rent. You don't have to worry about the landlord deciding that he's going to sell the house or move a family member in and then ultimately force you to move. Also, one of the advantages of a self-build program is that it increases the dollars within the economy, right? So you've got more families moving to a community, and now they are obviously going to be spending in the community, and so that's always a benefit. One of the things also that potentially doing the CVHC project is CVHC has never done a project within 29 Palms. I'm not aware of CVHC having done a project up in the Morongo Basin. And so this theoretically could be a proof of concept. CVHC comes up here. If they are successful in identifying 10 families that are either in the community and they can meet those requirements, or if they'd like to come from outside the community and into the community and build those houses, that may show CVHC that, hey, there's demand here, so we're willing to go out on their own and buy lots. So that is another advantage. So this 55-year deed restriction, this is something that the state of California has. So when people say the word affordable housing, that's complicated, right? Because we've got 50 people in this room. There's going to be 50 or 60 or 70 different definitions of what affordable is. So it's kind of misleading. In the state of California, affordable housing is a housing project, either a home or an apartment complex, that has a deed restriction of either 45 years for sale or 55 years for rent. And it has to be that deed restriction restricts who can either live in it in a for rent situation or purchase the house in a for sale situation. There are income limits, and it's a function of what I talked about earlier, and that is that average median income. I know in Riverside County, I want to say that average median income for a family of 4, there's a whole matrix, with how many family members you've got, obviously the income goes up, but I want to say it's about $72,000. I don't recall from memory what the average median income here is. So then you take that average median income, and then there's levels of affordability. You have moderate, you've got above, you've got low, you've got very low, and those are percentages of that average median income. And so if this self-build, if the city were to acquire 10 lots and gift them to CVHC, and those lots had the 55-year deed restriction, then they would count towards arena numbers. Now, there might be some folks at home, probably many folks at home and folks in the audience here. What is arena number? An arena number is a regional housing needs assessment number. This is something that SCAG, which is the Southern California Association of Governments, along with the state of California, HCD, Housing and Community Development, they came up with numbers. They assign numbers to cities throughout the state, and they say, okay, city, we expect the population to grow in California by, and hit these goals, grow by X. Cities, therefore, you need to have X number of affordable, deed-restricted housing in your community. They give each city numbers. So if we have houses or multifamily units that are built in our city that are deed-restricted, then they can count towards us meeting these RENA goals that the state has set for us. So it's a lot of information. Are we good if we keep going? Okay. So what does self-build not accomplish? So self-build, I think a lot of great things. One of the things that we just need to make sure that we don't misthink here is that if there's a self-built house that has a 55-year deed restriction, one of the benefits of home ownership is the intergenerational transfer of wealth. Let's say I buy a house, and then when I pass away, I can deed that to my children. And the wealth that had built up from the fact that when I bought it for $300,000 and it's now worth $800,000, some of that wealth will flow to my children. That is not accomplished here because of the fact that there are deed restrictions that limit house price appreciation. And that house price appreciation, the value of that house is really tied to the income level, what the people can afford. It's not the general market. I can explain that more. That's a kind of a unique concept, but it is a reality. And then also, if we have a deed restriction of less than 55 years, then it does not count towards our RENA numbers. And I think quite candidly, that's okay. You know, if we don't hit our RENA numbers, yes, it's important. Yes, we need to try to accomplish that for the state. But even if it doesn't go towards our RENA numbers, what it is providing is more attainably priced houses in our community, and it promotes increased home ownership. So that's a good thing. And then also one thing that is, I think, has got some challenges, and that is upon close of escrow, when the CVHC builds that house and sells it to that family and puts the deed restrictions on there of 15 years or, if necessary, 55 years, CVHC no longer is involved with the monitoring of that house. So if you'd like to go to the next slide, we can talk more about that. So what is required from the city? So, and this is really the intent of this, is to catch the audience up, because I would imagine maybe not all of them have tracked this concept through council. And so what had been previously contemplated is if the city either has or can purchase 10 residential lots and then give them to the Coachella Valleys and Housing Coalition, then the CVHC would then start to look for qualified buyers so that CVHC could help them build their home. And CVHC is able to do that because they get federal grants for this. So they have federal monies, probably some state monies, to build those houses. So those people are putting in their sweat equity. They put in their sweat equity. CVHC leverages state and federal grants, and then now they've got a built house that the family now owns and moves into, and all is good. So one of the things that the city, and this is, I think this is vital, is that the city would be responsible, since CVHC has said once they build the house, they're done. No more, right? And so the city then would have a responsibility, and I would recommend the use of consultants, is to monitor those homes. And when I say monitor, I don't mean what are you doing in there, and you know what did you paint the walls, and what type of curtains do you have. I'm talking about, is the person or the family that the house was sold to, are they continuing to live there? Because we wouldn't want to have a situation where our goal is to promote home ownership and to promote the construction of attainably priced houses, and then have someone come in there, acquire it, live in there for 6 months, a year, 2 years, and then turn it into a short-term rental, or turn it into a vacation home rental, or something like that, or sell it. And sell it in an all-cash buyer where that new person who moves in is not income restricted. So the city would need, it would be the responsibility or the duty of the city, if we're going to use city funds, the duty of the city to pay attention to, maybe have yearly check-ins, who's there, and then also when that house goes up for sale, to make sure that it's sold to someone else who meets that income restriction. And there would really be one, if we use certain type of city funds, it would be 55 years, it would be required. If we use former redevelopment agency funds, then it would be required that it's deed restricted for 55 years. State requirement, we don't have a say in it. If we use general fund money or unrestricted funds, then we have more flexibility. CVHC has typically done deed restriction for 15 years. I believe that's the federal grant requirement. There are other financing mechanisms that we could use as a city, like an equity share, where we would be able to recoup what we put into that project upon their sale, whenever that sale is. And so costs to the city. So the cost, I'm estimating, the cost of this project to the city on just the land acquisition would be $250,000 or less. We'd have to identify what the lots, what fair market value of the lots are, and then obviously make a bid to purchase those lots, assuming council approval, and that's not what we're getting here tonight. This is simply an update. $250,000, we're also going to need to do due diligence, such as a phase 1, make sure there's nothing toxic that's ever been stored there or dumped there. Geotechnical, to make sure that the ground is such that you can build a house on it and it's going to remain stable. So there's some due diligence costs that would be associated with an acquisition. Some additional costs that would be part of this is the annual monitoring, and just the annual monitoring, and then also the monitoring of resales. And then lastly, a cost is, in a situation where, let's say, something happens and that homeowner is not complying with the deed restrictions and the rules of the program, then we would have to take the necessary steps and litigate in order to get them to comply with the intent of the program. Next slide. So funds, sources of funds. So again, I had estimated that it would be a cap of $250,000. I imagine it's going to be much less than that, or it will be less than that. So we have two ways, and that's one is the former redevelopment agency funds. Now, Councilmember Scott had previously asked, what is the balance of RDA funds that could be applied for affordable housing? And that number is about $1,092,000. And then your understandable response is, well, Stone, why are we saying an unallocated fund balance of $92,000 when we have $1.092 million in that fund? And that is because council made the determination to allocate $1 million for a multifamily income restricted, deed restricted, affordable housing project just west of City Hall. So we have $1 million that's been allocated for the construction of that, which I think, if it can ever get off the ground, would be a great project, would do a lot for the city. So that means we've got about $92,000 left over. So then we would need to supplement the total acquisition cost with whatever that shortfall is. So if it's, let's say we get it done, we buy 10 lots, and we do due diligence for $100,000. I'm just picking a number. Then we would have to come out of the general fund or the reserves for another $8,000. So you say, well, that sounds good. We're using the funds as they're intended. So as in life, there's a cost with everything we do. And one of the costs of using the RDA funds is the fact that it would have to have a 55-year deed restriction. And as we talked about previously, we would then, as a city, have to monitor that property times 10 for 55 years. That is not a small cost. So just know, when we pick up the stick, we pick up both ends. And that is one of the ends of that stick, is that long-term, that obligation. So then you ask, well, what other options do we have? And that is unrestricted general fund. And that is something that we can do a shorter deed restriction, like 15 years, and there can be some other creative approaches that the city actually benefits, this program benefits by people's success, and then gives us more money to help more people have future success. So then you ask, well, Stone, what is, have any agreements been signed to date on this? What is the status of anything like that? And there was, in September 12th of last year, there was an agreement to negotiate, and that was a very, very, very basic document. It just essentially said, hey, we're interested in you, we're interested in this program, are you interested in us? And then if we are collectively interested in this and we think that there is a way to be successful, let's work together and do a whole bunch of things. So that was signed, that expired on August 31st. Really, quite candidly, I think the fact that it expired is really irrelevant. What it was, the intent of that, it's like a letter of intent if you're buying real estate. That's just an opportunity for you to thresh out any of the details that may come up as an obstacle later when you're actually spending big money on a purchase and sale agreement. So that agreement has served its purpose. We're at the table, they're at the table. Should the council choose to proceed, we're at the table, they're at the table. And then ultimately we would need to come up with an actual purchase and sale agreement that contemplates the transaction. Next slide. So then you say, okay, Stone, what are the next steps? And the next steps are, we need more information from CVHC. We've made some requests, and I'm sure that CVHC will be providing the documentation. And what we're looking for is we're looking for documents that they have used with other jurisdictions. We'd like to see how the other jurisdictions have framed this. We will be reaching out to the other jurisdictions to find out what their experience with CVHC and this program have been like. Surplus Land Act, that's something that we don't have enough time here or the next week to talk about. It's a very complex thing. So we're just going to have to evaluate the Surplus Land Act, or SLA, and just make sure that we comply with the SLA, the Surplus Land Act process. I think that we have ways to appropriately address that, but that is absolutely something as staff member that would be on our radar. We'd have to identify program milestones and city remedies. So, what that's about. So let's say we give them 10 lots and they only find 5 buyers and they go forward on 5 buyers. We don't want to have a situation where CVHC now owns 10 lots and they just sit vacant for the next 30 years. So there'd be something where we'd want to take that back. So anyway, there's, a whole bunch of other details, but that's kind of the pathway forward. If there's any questions from council, I'm happy to answer them at this time.
Council.
Well, you answered one of them, is what are the other municipalities doing to make this move forward? But that, I guess the other part of this that you almost answered it was, if we buy these and then we turn them over to them and they don't build, so obviously we'd have to have a contract that they would give them back to us. So and then we can sell them or just hang on to them.
That's right.
For a later
Yes.
date. Okay. I just want to make sure that we don't lose out on.
You bet.
We do this. Okay.
Anyone else?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. City Manager, for this great presentation. He's been doing a really good job. I've been working a lot with Dr. James to really land this plane and get this project moving forward. I really do see that this is a project that's going to, it's going to define us as a community and what our values are, and we value homeownership here, in my opinion. And so a couple of things that he mentioned and brought out about using the redevelopment funds, that may not be the best option because we may not want to take on the obligation of monitoring these properties for the next 55 years. And it also hinders the families from being able to generate equity and generational wealth, which is, in my opinion, that's actually the opposite of the goal here. And so I guess the question is, how do we pay for the lots? I think that's the real question that we have to figure out. City manager is saying that it could be $250,000, and we probably don't want to use that $90,000 from the redevelopment funds. I don't have the answer about how we pay for it. I do see that it is something that should be priority and something that we should focus on, and maybe come up with a strategy about how do we pay for the lots.
Anyone else? Nope. Public? Yes.
I actually love the project. Question I have is 1,500 hours is a lot of time. It means somebody's got to put like almost 70% of the year, time-wise, volunteering. And then the city manager said, if we can't find people within our city, then we'll find people from outside the city. I thought the affordable housing is for the people that cannot afford houses right now city presently. So I'd like to see that 1,500 hours waived. I've got quite a few lots, and I just did some rough and dirty research and found out that the fees that I have to pay to the city for the permitting and everything is equal to approximately 26% of the cost of the construction. When these houses are built, do they still have to pay that fees to the city? How is that also waived? Thanks.
Questions? Okay, very good. So, Mr. Vino, I think you had 3 questions. You had a question on fees, you had a question on the hours, and what was the third item? Okay. Sure. So, a couple of things. So, the 1,500 hour requirement, it is my understanding that that requirement is set by the federal government. And so, and that's one of the unique things of this program. You know, I work full-time plus, my wife works full-time plus. This is not a program that we could manage. I could not take 40 hours out of my week to do this. Now, if I had the benefit of a supportive extended family, then I might be able to spend time on the weekends working, and then I could have an uncle or a cousin or a nephew come and spend, you know, the additional hours during the week, and to help get that, to achieve that 40 hours. But I don't think that's something that can be waived, because that is, I imagine that is part of the federal program. Sir?
Yes, Mr. City Manager, that it can't be waived, and the program specifies that you can have a helper to help with those hours, right? But you also mentioned that it could, the program could last between 6 months to a year, and
That's to find the people. That's to locate a qualified family. And then, of course, your other point, how long would it take to build the house? Maybe 6 months to a year.
Thank you. So yeah, when I sat down with the executive director of the Coachella Valley Housing Coalition, he had stated that it could take about 6 months to a year to finish these homes. And I had a question. I said, well, why is there such a big difference between 6 months to a year? And that's because you can have a lot of different people that can volunteer to help build these homes. They may not necessarily count towards the 40 hours a week, but if you can shorten the time frame that it takes to build a home, then you're essentially helping those families out. And so what I would recommend is that this is a great collaboration to be a workforce development program. This is a collaboration that we can work with the college and their new construction program. We can work with the Marine Corps base. We can work with all kind of volunteers around the community to really help these families become homeowners.
Very good. In terms of, Mr. Vino had a question, that was city fees. I am not knowledgeable in that regard in terms of what the exact city fees are. We'd have to take a look at that, all right, because city fees, the city fees are charged to recuperate the city for the cost of processing the permits. There's no profit or anything like that. Cities cannot do that. It is what is it costing the city to process that application? In terms of whether it's waived or not, I don't know. And then the third question was bringing people in from outside the community. That is something that I think ultimately their goal is to get 10 families. And in an ideal world, they'd get 10 qualified families from 29 Palms. What is challenging, it's kind of like a hire local requirement of a big new manufacturer, and they have to hire 200 jobs. And of course we say, hey, we want you to hire first, hire local. Well, if they don't get the applicants from the community, then they can't hire people from the community. And so same thing with this. If they're not getting qualified applicants from the community, but they are getting qualified applicants from somewhere else, then they may very well allow that person to build a house and move here.
And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, because the goal is to build the homes, and I don't think anyone is going to move from Los Angeles here to do a self-help construction project, right? You might get some people from Yucca Valley because they work in Yucca Valley but they can't really afford to buy a house in Yucca Valley. They might come here and make 29 Palms their home, and the city then reaps the benefits of increased property taxes.
Very good. So if there's other council members who will have comments, certainly love to hear it. This was just merely an update to let you know the work and the things that we have dug up thus far.
We got one more from the public.
Yes, sir.
Pauline Pisano?
Thank you so much. I'm going to research more about this project, but I wanted to just state on record that what I'm hearing is that housing is a human right, which indeed it is, and that affordable housing is necessary in 29 Palms for it to have the kind of community that we want to have. I would like to encourage that there can be a collaboration with all the artists that you see here that have open mics, that there's a cultural arts organizing element to be able to fund such a project, and also that the governor just passed Proposition 1. And Proposition 1 has a lot of federal funds that could go towards many different things when it comes to housing. I have a lot of issues with the direction of Proposition 1 being treatment, not tense. The real slogan is housing, not tense. But I do believe that there is federal funding that the city can push for, so you don't actually have to get money from outside. And so I just wanted to recommend that the city council really push on the state government to actually fund a project like this for those families.
Thank you. Council, we good on the information? All right. City manager, you know what to do?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Moving on, number 10, Tourism Business Improvement District TBID. Who is? Oh, there she is.
Okay, good evening, Mayor Pro Tem. So tonight's agenda item is the TBID, the Tourism Business Improvement District. And this is to evaluate what has been accomplished in the last year, and then also to talk to council about the budget for this coming year. And really this is about, ultimately, should the council choose to signal to adopt a resolution that states the intent to readopt a 1.5% levy on overnight tourism. And so with that, we've got our esteemed Brianne. She is going to be leading tonight's discussion.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council. Can you hear me? No. Louder. Into. Oh boy. Okay. All right, good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council. Thank you for having us here tonight. Thank you for the introduction. So we are here seeking reauthorization. We are here with intent to pursue a next one-year term. We are here to celebrate some of the key accomplishments and major initiatives that we've accomplished over the last year. And before I get into that, just a quick introduction. I know Council knows very well who our TBID is, how we're funded, what we're here to do, but for the purpose of everyone else that's here today. So the 29 Palms Tourism Business Improvement District is established under the Parking and Business Improvement Area Law of 1989. So again, that means we operate on one-year terms, one-year budgets. Our organization is made possible through a private-public partnership between the city and the local lodging partners here. And we are very much dedicated towards promoting 29 Palms as a leading and premier travel destination. So in terms of the work that we do, and you'll hear me talk about destination marketing programs, event sponsorships, strategic partnerships, enhancing the visitor experience, and supporting our local businesses and economy. We are funded entirely through the revenue generated by the 1.5 assessment fee. So that's added on top of the nightly rate that visitors are paying when they stay in the city. That applies to hotels, inns, motels, vacation rentals, and our RV resorts. that. So before I get into, again, the annual report, I'd love to take a moment to introduce the members of our organization, starting with our 5-member advisory board, many of whom are here today with us. Our board members bring a tremendous level of expertise and insight to our organization, helping shape the strategies, strengthening our partnerships, and helping to really drive the success of our programs and key initiatives, again, all to enhance the city's tourism industry. Our TBID board chair is Rakesh Mehta of Sure Stay by Best Western. Excuse me. Our vice chair, Heidi Grunt, 29 Palms Inn and Campbell House, who's here with us. TBID board member Maria Madrid from Holiday Inn Express. TBID board member Ashton Ramsey of Ramsey 29, who we'll call upon in just a few moments. And very excited to have welcomed Ben Ueda as our new TBID board member of Reset Hotel. Thanks for being here. If you could please just go to that next slide. Thank you. We also would like to thank and acknowledge 2 outgoing board members. So our former vice chair, Ash Maharaj, served on our board for over 6 years. She was a founding board member of our organization, played really an instrumental role in building the foundation and framework for everything that we're doing today. It played a huge role in developing our first ever tourism marketing plan, which continues to help guide our efforts today. And we also thank outgoing board member Patricia Knight for her incredible contributions over 4 years. She played an amazing role in helping with the development of our new tourism website, you'll hear me talk about in just a moment, and also made major contributions to the development of our new sponsorship and event grant program. In terms of TBID staff team, 1 full-time staff, for anyone here that doesn't know me, Brianne Duzastre, I'm the Director of Marketing. Our staff team also includes 1 part-time visitor center, Marissa Cosma, who's here with us as well, who does a great job in supporting our visitors at the city's visitor center. So with that, I'm happy to be here to dig in again to the annual report, highlighting a very busy year for growth, innovation, collaboration, and all the work that we've done to elevate 29 Palms as a vibrant and dynamic community and exciting travel destination. So we will start taking a look at our recently relaunched and fully reimagined and rebuilt tourism website, visit29.org. So Destination website plays a really critical role in the travel consumer's trip planning journey, and we worked very hard for many months to lead up to the relaunch of this site. We are thrilled with the results. We think this offers much more powerful, engaging, and exciting experience for travelers that are researching our area and specifically our city through the improved navigation and visual storytelling opportunities, enhanced digital branding. Again, we just feel like this has created such a more exciting and inspiring experience for our site users. We were also very specific when we built this site to think about our local business owners. So we worked to develop an extranet, which allows individual business owners here the ability to log into the back end of the site and essentially manage and optimize their own business listing or presentation, really to help them maximize their visibility and engagement on this site. So we're thrilled with that. If you could switch to the next slide, please. Thank you. We run a series of digital marketing programs really throughout the year, starting with paid search. And essentially that's helping us support this new website, helping to make sure it maintains a high search ranking when people put in specific keywords to research coming to this area. This is really one of those always-on digital marketing programs that we run throughout the year targeting our drive markets. And when we say drive market, we mean more than just Southern California. We also consider parts of Arizona and Southern Nevada in those drive markets. So again, that's an always-on kind of advertising program that we run. Since we launched this new site, it's been really very encouraging. We've seen the number of monthly leads or people opting in to receive our email newsletters double. So we're now able to reach even more people by way of email campaigns, and that allows us to directly deliver inspiring content, travel itineraries, support of upcoming events, and share exciting destination news. We have well-established social media channels for Visit 29 Palms. We are proud of the growth that we've seen in this last year and see this as the biggest opportunity for growth ahead, and are excited to have put specific funding into the budget next year to help with social media support. Thank you. We have a great partnership with Fuse Connect and a really great co-op program that we work with our partners at Discover Inland Empire with. And what that allows us to do is maintain our presence at both the Palm Springs International Airport and the Ontario International Airport. So those are great programs to, again, build that brand awareness, to be able to target frequent travelers and really keep 29 Palms sort of top of mind. We've got a lot to talk about when it comes to paid print media, paid and earned. And so if I may, I'll start with just a kind of quick, overview of how those two are different. So when we talk about paid media and we look at the examples of the ad placement in National Geographic Traveler and Palm Springs Life magazine's Desert Guide, those are paid advertisements that allows us the opportunity to control, or I guess craft the content, control that messaging, and of course timing as well. So we also are going to spotlight some of the earned media that's worth celebrating this year. And so that is organic coverage generated by third parties, journalists, bloggers, without any cost really to us. So while you don't have control over per se messaging, earned media is incredibly powerful as it builds that trust and credibility. And earned media can have a much wider and often long-lasting impact as it's seen to be very authentic. So some of the earned media highlights include Visit California's Road Trips magazine. This is a great thing to see us continue to earn placement in. There's over 1 million copies of this magazine printed. You'll find this across the 20+ Visit California Welcome Centers across California. So if visitors are walking into a California Welcome Center, whether it's like San Diego at the CBX or all the way north in like Shasta County, you're going to find that same Road Trips magazine on the shelf there. Travel consumers are also able to order this directly off the site. So wildly powerful opportunity there. So year after year, we've seen individual businesses in 29 Palms included on the desert road trip itineraries, which is great. We also had a really great earned media spotlight in AAA's Westway magazines. That's a huge win for us and the local businesses that were spotlighted in that piece. That publication reaches millions of readers in our Southern California drive markets, and that's a very highly engaged audience. So we've seen some great opportunity and great work done in print media. If you could go to the next one. Thank you. Ooh, it's very hot in here. All right, so we have so much to talk about in terms of earned digital media this year, which is so exciting. So just an amazing year. We've seen some of our local businesses, some of our local community events featured in national publications like the New York Times, Travel and Leisure, and most recently SF Gate. So I think we know this reflects the growing recognition of 29 Palms. I think it reflects and highlights the new scene that's being built here and that excitement about it. We're seeing journalists driving that narrative that if places like Palm Springs are of interest, you better check out 29 Palms. And that is also, some of those stories are also positioning us as a less crowded and more affordable destination. So again, these media features are boosting our city's visibility. And we will move on. Thank you. Okay, we had a very, very busy spring at travel trade events. These offer us really great opportunities to actively promote the city, to network with industry leaders and partners, to build important relationships, and to really reinforce the city's leadership position in regional tourism. Some of the highlights include the Visit California Outlook Forum, which offered really powerful networking opportunities with other TBIDs and DMO staff. You'll find over 100 different TBIDs active in the state of California, and it's great to be able to have the opportunity to pull everybody together to have conversations about what's working, what are their challenges, are there ways we can collaborate and work together? That particular travel trade event also was wildly helpful in terms of gaining insights into all of the important kind of topics and challenges in the travel and tourism industry in the state, and that includes conversations and presentations about how competitive is California on the global scale, discussions about how are U.S. Visa wait times impacting international inbound tourism, and what can the industry be doing about it. We heard all about the research behind Visit California's new positioning of California as the ultimate playground. How can we then tie in that established need for play into the work we're doing here in 29 Palms? So wonderfully insightful opportunity there. For the second year in a row, we were a proud sponsor of the Inland Empire Regional Tourism Summit. That's a new industry event, and we're thrilled to have opportunities to be on those panels to talk about success stories and highlight the growth that we're seeing here in 29 Palms. And also, it was an honor. We were selected to be the Desert Region Partner to work alongside the Greater Palm Springs CVB at the IPW conference. That's put on by the U.S. Travel Association. That is the premier inbound travel trade event, really, of the year. So I had the opportunity to participate in 3 days of one-on-one meetings with international tour operators. And the goal here is not to create a nonstop stream of massive tour buses coming through the city. I think the goal is to deepen our understanding of this industry, right? And think about what are the right kinds of relationships to build, what are the right kinds of benefits through those relationships, and when we say tour operator, it's a diverse mix, right? Some of these tour operators are focused on group tours, maybe that's 10 to 15 people, while others are focused on FIT or flexible independent travelers, I think is what it stands for. So they're booking like individual couples and again, individual travel. So I think that was a really great opportunity to have conversations about who's active in the region, if they're not active in the region, why not? For those that have well-established tour itineraries through the California desert region. Why is it that they've made these choices to certain destinations? And again, what are the opportunities for us here in 29 Palms? And what do those tour operators need from us to give them the confidence and familiarity so that they feel good about sending travelers to us? So. Next slide, please. So I just mentioned a sense of familiarity, So we host FAM tours. That stands for Familiarization Tour. We had a great opportunity with the Discover Inland Empire group back in December to bring a group of Mexican tour operators to 29 Palms, as we love to roll out the red carpet and kind of showcase our hospitality and give them a sort of boots on the ground sense and feeling of everything that we have to offer here. We have some really great upcoming opportunities lined up with Visit California, and I'd love to just take a second to spotlight the upcoming Brand USA Mega Fam. This is huge for us. This will be the first opportunity that we've ever had to work directly with Brand USA. So as we work closely with Visit California throughout the year, our state tourism partners, Brand USA essentially do all of that same work but on a national level. So we're thrilled to be welcoming a group of, I believe, 10 to the city later this month. And if you wonder, how did we get this opportunity? I do think a big part of it is we made such a great impression and offered such a fun experience to the Visit California team as part of the FAM tour that you see a picture of there. So that was a FAM tour that followed the IPW conference, who had representatives from Visit California's UK office as part of this tour, and it's through Visit California's UK office that we have this Brand USA opportunity. So thrilled about that. We also are very excited for the opportunity to participate in our first ever media co-op with Visit California. That's happening in October, and that's going to provide a really powerful chance to network and pitch story ideas to top-tier travel and lifestyle media in the LA market. So we're very much looking forward to that. All right, so we're going to talk about events next, and I'm going to turn it over to Board Member Ashton Ramsey for a few moments.
Thank you. Thank you, Brianne. She is amazing. She's very organized. She's very detailed. She crushes it, and she's all we have in the. I mean, she is the lifeblood of what we do, and we're so thankful for what you do. When I came in, she was able to fill me in on everything, and so it's very incredible. I just wanted to talk about the events and sponsorships. I didn't realize we were going to have a room full of fans of events and sponsorships. Everybody loves this. There's so much community engagement in what's going on, and I've been so proud of what has been able to be accomplished with the TBID and the money going out to all the events. That's where the majority of our money goes, and that's the exciting part, because all that money goes into the community. So we're engaging the community is engaging everyone outside of the community, and we're bringing people in, and we're bringing overnight visitors like crazy. I met so many people at all these events that were coming in for the first time. They came in, it was as if they were invited to our city. They got to a place, they had a home to be at, and they were welcomed in such a cool way. And just seeing the people that were running the events just so excited about it. You know, they were given a little bit of money that could go towards like doing something, so they were empowered, and the collaboration was just insane. We worked with the community to get, guidelines put in place. I kind of just wanted it to be a free-for-all because it's exciting, and I trust people and seeing what people were doing, but that's not what we did. And everybody the majority of the people coming in were from the drive markets. So that means if they love what we're doing in 29 Palms, they can come out 6 times a year. They can buy a house out here. They can join us, and they can bring friends out. So I think that what we've done with our events has just been such a success, and I'm just thrilled about it. So thank you guys, and I hope we see more of this.
Thank you.
Yes, you can quickly kind of go through those next couple of slides. What they do is spotlight the events sponsored both by grants and sponsorship that have already taken place, and it also spotlights what we have upcoming for the rest of this calendar year. So, carry right along. Mm-hmm. Keep going. Oh. Okay, so we're almost there. I just always will spotlight what we're doing at the City Visitor Center. So in addition to running the tourism marketing programs throughout the year, our TBID continues to support this visitor center. We continue to work in partnership with the city's Public Arts Advisory Committee by providing gallery space for the Arts and Public Places program. It's been a busy year. So over the last year, we've supported over 5,000 visitors. These in-person interactions directly benefit our local businesses. We are in there all day, every day, referring people directly out to their local restaurants and shops and attractions and out to some of our community events. Notable, over just this last year, we've welcomed visitors from 45 different states, 9 Canadian provinces, and 27 countries from around the world, which is wild. If we can go to the next slide, thank you. So we will, excuse me, tracking the revenue that's generated by this 1.5% assessment fee is a hugely important key performance indicator for us, as this funds everything that we're able to do. While we've seen a small decrease in the assessment collection, this very much aligns with the same figures we're seeing reported across California in the desert and inland empire regions and beyond, and also what we knew was coming by way of tourism economics forecasting. As we look ahead, we are so excited about this new era we feel this community is in, marked by a revitalized downtown and that new National Park Visitor Center, just amazing new businesses and a very exciting, robust lineup of upcoming events. If you can go to the next slide, please. So as we look forward to our next term and continuing all of this hard work that we have been building upon, we have work to update and strengthen our marketing plan and set a budget to support both marketing programs and initiatives and events we feel will allow us to, again, build on these accomplishments and continue this momentum and move us forward. So you're seeing sort of an overview of our proposed budget for next year. We've set the budget for $530,000. That does include continuing to pull from our reserves, specifically to support that event's sponsorship program. And as you look at sort of the breakdown of how we're utilizing this budget, we put 69% of it towards marketing programs. 28% supports the operations. As I mentioned before, we're thrilled to be able to put some funds towards some additional support by way of social media. And we generally maintain about a 3% of this budget for contingency and miscellaneous. So, and that's that. Thank you.
Thank you. Council, any questions?
No, I read the staff.
Yes. All right, we're gonna go to the public. Mr. Vino?
Thank you, Mayor. In fact, I've got, numerous, questions, and I'd like the TBID, director to go ahead and answer them if it's possible.
That's good.
Is it okay for you to answer the questions? Okay. I'm not going to give you fluff. In fact, I have hotels in this and other cities that we have the TBID, and they are very successful. I've come here time and time again and said that, hey, you know what, this thing is not working out. I see a budget of about 365, and I went online and saw that we have a staff cost of just around 42-43%. 365 is like having a small business. And when you have a small business and you have 42% of your cost going into payroll, you're not going to be a successful business person. Basically, Councilman Wright will, tell you when they first wanted to form the TBID, I was very, very instrumental towards the TBID, and I went ahead and okayed that thing, and I asked other hoteliers to join. So you got occupancy that just went down, that she said. I just asked Mr. Ramsey, since you opened up, can you tell me what your occupancy is? And he goes, I don't know what my occupancy is. I don't know what my occupancy is. And yet, Mayor, I sat with you. I sat with Councilman Scott Octavius. I was in front of this thing, Mayor Pro Tem Joe. I was able to show you what my occupancy is. I've asked the chairman, who's been there for 7 years, I believe, sitting on the TBID, or maybe longer, what's his occupancy. He wouldn't say what his occupancy. I'm not ashamed to say what my occupancy is less than 50%. Now, some might say, hey, you know what? He's probably a lousy operator. You know, lousy operators don't own over a dozen hotels domestically and nationwide, and don't have a single family member working there, and go ahead and have almost 300 employees. This TBID needs to come up with a plan as to how you're going to increase occupancy. And I think as council members, you all need to make sure that their performance is measured. Because that 1.5% that you're eating, that I'm paying, the guest is not paying, it's coming out of my pocket. I don't mind paying that 1.5% if they can put heads in beds. I've got a 109-room hotel. I don't have a 9-room or a 10-room hotel. I have 22 people that work for me. I have a potential of happening to employ another 12 to 13 more if I have the right occupancy. So can you, and I've asked the director and the
It's 3 minutes, Mr. Vino. 3 minutes is up.
I did say I have, questions.
Yeah, which I
If you had told me I only got, 3 minutes, I would have given another pitch.
we've had 3 minutes in the last 20 years we come to these meetings, and you know it's 3 minutes, sir. So,
Thank you.
but Mr. Ben will do the answer. Hopefully, he has the answer to the question.
Always good to hear from another business owner. You want to be careful when you talk about the proportion of resources per type of business. Marketing and real estate are very different. I've run both. It's not uncommon for something related around marketing, which is fundamentally based on creativity and communication, to be a little bit more human capital based, whereas real estate is going to be a little bit more focused on the hard assets. As for no progress, I think maybe take some time to read the report. I think it's kind of laid out right there. Now, we can quibble about whether or not the progress is what we feel is justified relative to the budget. That's fair, but it's categorically false to say that there hasn't been any, unless you want to do an audit of the numbers themselves. So what I would sort of say is, having talked to some local business owners in the very short time that I've been a part of this, is that yes, we do want accountability. That's really, really important. But we want to be specific, not just throw it as a broad cudgel across all things. When I look at the things around the website and the social media, I go, that's great. I see accountability. I see progress. When I look at the earned media, I'm like, wow, those are some pretty prestigious publications that we got into. Now, I might quibble about saying, hey, maybe for the airport things and stuff like that, seems like an okay idea, but maybe we need a little more data, or maybe we need to cut back so the staff can focus on the things that we are seeing progress on. That's it.
Thank you. Eric Menendez? Before you go, is this her email?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure. There's no names, so I want to make sure.
Yeah, I don't know. She sent them too also, so I'll just read hers
It was her
real quick.
email. Both of them are email, but now I know they belong to her, so I'll have to read them.
So this first comment is for Susan Peplow. Sorry, this was the first one, sorry. But while I'm looking for that, I do want to say Brianne has done a fantastic job. She is an invaluable asset to the city. Okay, so Susan Peplow, TBID reauthorization. Here we go again with the TBID reauthorization. While many things have changed over the past year, sadly, much has remained the same. The marketing plan continues to outline changes, but there's a lack of vision or execution or any plan to resolve said issues. The budget reflects an increase greater than CPI for staff. Meanwhile, it is not bringing on the much-needed social media assistance and event coordinator to maximize the effectiveness of the marketing plan itself. The TBID budget focuses at great expense on FAM tours and out-of-area markets, yet fails to advertise in the known markets of Southern California with print advertisements and ongoing marketing of events. The City Council imposed a $200,000 fine to the 2023-2024 budget to be used toward events, which has resulted in minimal social media outreach or simple advertisements with resources such as Joshua Tree Voice or other magazines. Social media outreach remains dismal with minimal engagement of followers or actual stakeholders. VHR and hoteliers receive limited communication or resources to help build the Visit 29 Palms brand. Just the same, I remain a believer in the TBID and the good it can do for our city and building 29 Palms as a destination. However, the failure to establish milestones, review performance, and impose board member team term limits and hold staff accountable for goals that seemingly are never met is getting tiresome, even for the biggest TBID proponents. At this time, I hope that the City Council will consider these points, take a more active role in the oversight of TBID, and provide guidance, which they so desperately need. Without it, I feel this conversation will seem very much like deja vu come 2025. And that's from Susan. But I know that we have corrected that. Anyways, I'm not going to get
No,
back.
you're good.
So for my presentation, Cindy has some binders I brought for the manager and the city council members. And Karen has some postcards with stuff if anyone has information, because this is all online. So my name is Eric Menendez. I run a company called Desert Beacon. I think most of you know me. I have been in conversations with the county as well as Yucca Valley and a lot of regional stakeholders regarding having a conversation to look at tourism from a regional perspective. As you know, I'm a nurse and for 25 years in healthcare before coming to this town after an injury. And I kind of see things from a nursing and holistic perspective, how one thing affects the other. We have Joshua Tree, which is the heart. We have 29 Palms, which are the lungs, and I've chosen Yucca Valley to be the kidneys. We can't function without all three. So I've had some productive conversations with the town manager of Yucca Valley. He is open to a regional marketing proposal, and in your book I have some information about that. One is an example of the Monforest Towns. This is something that I encountered at a 2022 Joshua Tree Gateways community meeting hosted by Glenn Harris, which was one of Don Rao's field reps. And this was presented by Amber Laird from Park Service, and it's a story of how 10 or 11 towns in various counties came together to kind of harness their resources and use them more effectively and look at tourism as a helping each other out sort of way. They had a little bit of different challenges because they were a coal mining town going into trying to harness a recreation economy. We really don't have that. We have plenty of visitors, but we do need to maximize the value and time of the tourists that we have coming. As one of the lead founders of the Downtown Business Association, Desert Beacon last year established a booth in the Palm Springs Village Fest, which we have committed to reestablishing presence starting 2 weeks on the 19th. We're going to be having a booth there, and our goal is to get tourists up here to the whole valley, to the whole Marengo Basin. I'm still waiting on confirmation on who wants to be a sponsor, who wants to work, but I'm prepared to put it on by myself or with the Downtown Business Association. I think we need to work together on this. In the website and in your books there, you do have information on a draft regional tourism development survey that I've kind of worked on myself. And I'm working with several academic professors in West Virginia, as well as locally in California, to try to draft a reasonable survey that we can put out to a local university to publish around all these communities here. So with that being said, I support the TBID reauthorization. I really have some concerns about the direction of the TBID board members. They don't seem to be very engaged. I would like to see more of them. I understand we have 2 new ones, fairly new ones, and I'm encouraged by that. But I think from what I've seen from other ones, I just feel that they need to take a little more active role. I think we deserve it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. City Manager, back up here. You guys any questions? No additional? Number 2? You have your... What's your name? I'll mark it on here. Go ahead.
I had a separate comment I wanted to save for this opportunity. I appreciate the time. Again, my name is Caitlin Gill, and TBID support was crucial to the success of our event 229 and beyond. One of the ways TBID helped right from the start was to help events coordinate so that they didn't overlap during the off-season, which helped us immensely. We were able to attract many visitors over 2 nights in June who lodged here, which I hope helped improve the city's profile and lodging rates in local establishments. I wanted to say, especially in light of the conversation we had earlier regarding agenda number 8, that one of the ways that TBIDs could help producers and events succeed is to help us continue to collaborate to improve safety, connect services and businesses for event essentials, things like chairs, even water, ways to keep events safe and serviced, and also to connect producers to venues and businesses for mutual benefit. These relationships can benefit many events, not just those directly supported by TBID funds. I think a TBID meeting is a place for more specific discussion, but to this council I wanted to say that the more time local producers have to create marketing materials, promote, and organize with talent, the more the city benefits. So thanks again to the TBID, and I hope that the City Council continues to support that program. Thank you specifically, Brian. Your resources were incredible. Thank you.
Sydney, what resolution number?
2420.
I make a motion that we adopt resolution number 2420, confirming the intention to levy an assessment for fiscal year 2024-2025.
I'll second.
What about the budget? Is that a separate? You want that as a separate one?
Oh,
You want this-
okay. And I'll, number 1 and number 2. The budget too.
Councilmember Scott?
Aye.
Councilmember Mintz?
Aye.
Councilmember Wright?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Klink?
Aye.
Mayor Bilderain?
Aye.
Approved 5-0.
Before we move on, I believe the TBID, Brianne, Ben, Ashton, I believe you guys. I mean, I've seen the change since last time we were here. I mean, last time here it was chaotic and dramatic, and we've come a long way. We've learned from our mistakes, and we're moving forward. That's all we can ask for. Can we improve and get better? Yeah, and you guys already have plans, forward thinking, so I know we're going to get there. And no matter how great we do next year, they'll still have room for improvement. So please keep doing what you're doing, feet to the ground, and keep rolling. And we support it. We love what you're doing for the city. Of course, at everything we do, we always get better, and that's just what we're getting right now. So thank you for everything you're doing. Huh? Oh, Heidi, so you're here? Oh, yeah. And you too.
She's
I thought
hiding
you were
as
gone.
usual. She
She's
doesn't want to
hiding
be
back
out there.
Yeah. All right.
That's all part of my plan last year.
Yes.
Was it Mac?
Yeah, it's all part of the plan, I guess. All right, so we're moving on. Future council-initiated items. You have none. I do have one, Mr. City Manager. The safety measures for the bathrooms at Freedom Gym.
Yes, sir.
At Farmers Market, we have individuals who hang out there and make it less.
Criminal vagrancy.
Yes, I'm trying to find the correct words and not be. But the smells, the look. People don't want to let their kids go to the bathrooms in that area.
Yes.
There's been sports going on at night. We have to escort our kids to the bathrooms because of the outside entities out there. So if there's a way we could figure out how to corridor to have our kids safe to use the facilities. I mean, just
Yes,
just
Your Honor.
crazy out there.
Yes, Mayor. Happy to look into that. I'll talk to staff. I think we probably have some ideas, and I'll identify the best courses of action and look to get this back on the council agenda as soon as I can.
All right. Everyone else good with everything? Okay. We're going to move on to, oh, here we go. Public comments. This is the time for the public to address City Council on issues within the jurisdiction of the City Council that are not on this agenda. All comments are to be directed to the City Council and should not consist of any personal attacks. Any personal attacks. Remember, to the public are expected to maintain a professional, courteous decorum during their comments. There is a time limit of 3 minutes per person. If you haven't already done so, please fill out the name and address slips and give them to the City Clerk. The City Council is prohibited by state law from taking action or discussing items not included on the printed agenda. Public comments on specific agenda items will be deferred until consideration of the item on the agenda. First up, Natalie Zook on behalf of Desert Trumpet.
Good night, Nicole.
Oh, now you're leaving? All right.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Natalie Zook. I am a resident of District 1. I hate public speaking, and I am here on behalf of the Desert Trumpet. We are an online newspaper publication. We cover news and local government here in 29 Palms and Yucca Valley, Morongo Basin surrounding areas, and we would like to formally extend an invitation to everyone for our upcoming City Council Candidate Forum. It is taking place this Saturday, September 14th in Freedom Plaza at 3 p.m. We will feature candidates who are vying for Districts 1 and Districts 2 here in 29 Palms. And I saw all 5 of our council candidates here at the meeting tonight. So we are looking forward to a productive forum and discussion on Saturday. And thank you.
Thank you. All right, these are not public comments, but we don't want to take away their moment. So item 9, Karen Harper.
You know, I just want to say I think their project, as far as the home building, is a very good project. And I want to be a candidate for that job, Dr. Stone, when you decide to move forward with this project, for me to work with you. Because I wouldn't mind, you know, watching over the program, make sure they don't sell their homes for the next 10 years. So I'll be that person. So when that job comes out, Karen Harper. Thank you.
Thank you,
ma'am. And then, I like that. Don Pritchett, I hope I said that right.
Hi. I just want to say that I agree with the program. We need families off the street. We need to let the town build homes, helping each other, helping out the world, helping out each other. This is a program that should have been here a long time ago. We have people that are out there in the street because of losing their homes. I have lots of girls, and they need to be part of this. And we appreciate this program. We want this program. We need this program. Thank you.
Thank you. You fill out a sheet. Are there other sheets out there? Yeah. Yeah. We'll I know who you are, so we'll write it down.
Hi, everybody. I'm Robin Schlosser. I just wanted to real quick, I was at the Basin-Wide Foundation dinner earlier this month, too, and I just wanted to give a huge shout-out to the city of 29 Palms for getting the President's Award. Well-deserved honor. And I also wanted to give a shout-out to the 29 Palms Community Food Pantry for getting Nonprofit of the Year. You know, 29 Palms rocks. Yay!
And I will say that award was presented to the city, but it's like when the coach wins the World Series, he didn't do nothing. That's all the players on the team that did all the work. So the community got us those awards, and that award right there, we just got the benefit to stand up there, take a picture, and hold it. But it's the community who earned that award. We just get to show it off. All right, but thank you, the whole community, everything you guys are doing for the city. And city manager's update.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. I'll make this brief, and that is I wanted to thank Keith Gardner. So one of the things that, having come from an economic development background, sometimes I have been at odds. Do I need to pause?
Hold on one. You did I don't have it up. I have 9 and 10. Go ahead. I'll find it. Go ahead, Tony. He was ready. He was raising his hand in the middle. I was like,
sorry, Mr. Stone Jones.
Sorry. He was raising his hand. I was trying to get.
It's all good.
Remember 3 minutes.
Hang on. In fact, I need to find it. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, distinguished council members. I'm of East Indian Hindu descent, and we have no representation in the city. We are not treated fairly and equally. As an East Indian, we happen to contribute a lot, from doctors to educators, to military, to 7-Eleven owners, to gas stations, to the hotels. 11 of the 13 hotels in our city is owned by East Indians. Mayor, your meeting with me a few weeks ago, you were surprised to learn that 11 of the hotels were owned by East Indians in the city. Yet, when we speak here, the attitude you'll have is let him come at the venting podium and vent. A good case in point was when the TBID was overturned, y'all called an emergency meeting, brought in the so-called pioneers. I've spent 25 years in this town. Mr. Ken Patel, El Rancho Hotel, spent over 40 years. I guess we are not pioneers because we are not of the preferred skin color. We create jobs, we pay taxes, we obey laws. Our kids contribute a lot to society as well. You might say that the TBID chairman is East Indian, Mr. Rakesh Mehta. What you have set up is a tricameral parliament under the apartheid government of South Africa. Majority of the hoteliers signed the petition against the TBID, yet you vote against us. TBID is not performing, and we need to get rid of it or measure their performance. I've made numerous applications to sit on the TBID board, but refuse to be picked. Maybe the fear is that Vino might just find something in the closet. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shall I resume?
Yeah, because I can't reply to that, so I'm going to take the high road. City manager's update.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So wanted to just to talk about a couple of things here this evening, one of which was I wanted to thank Keith Gardner. So coming from an economic development background, and that background is how do we support businesses, how do we get to yes, how do we move an idea forward and get that idea to fit with, comply with the regulations of a community. And sometimes if a community regulations aren't necessarily totally right on, how do we change it? I've had a lot of experiences with planning directors over the years, and seemingly in the planning department, their reflective response is no. Hey, I've got an idea. No. Hey, can this work? No. And one of the things that I've got to say with Keith has been, he's been incredible. And it's always been a yes. Hey, how can we make this happen? And if there's an issue, he'll call out the issue. Hey, we can't do this because it's not safe. Or hey, this is something that really doesn't fit with the character of the community. But tonight, this whole event thing was symptomatic of Keith's approach to doing the right thing for the council and doing the right thing by the community. And that was ensuring the development code is up to date and reflective of community needs and council goals. So I just wanted to take a moment and just kind of share with the crowd my respect and appreciation for Keith, the fact that he is so pro-development, pro the right development, and also facilitative of getting our development code, which is inherently an imperfect document. It's our best estimate to do things, to put regulations down, but there's always going to be unintended consequences. So I just wanted to thank Keith for thinking around the corner and figuring out how we can be the best city that we can be. Next thing, wanted to move on to the USGS study. This was something that the council had approved to move forward. This was going to be an assessment by the U.S. Geological Survey organization of the really the nitrate infiltration rate within our community. I think it's going to be an important study. It'd be about a 5-year study. I am still working very diligently on getting the green light from the EPA to use the EPA funds to fund that USGS study. This USG study is not cheap. It's about $2.1, almost $2.2 million. And we had originally intended on using the just over $1.9 million of EPA funding. There are some challenges that we're working through on that. So that USGS study has not started yet, but I'm doing everything that I can, in addition to using our lobbyists, to try to figure out how we can get EPA to a yes. I also had the pleasure of attending Warhawks football kickoff. What a great organization. What a great opportunity for our kids to build camaraderie, to get in better health, to build discipline, build responsibility. And so in talking to that football coach, and these are for the kids from, old enough to stand up to high school, stopping before they get to high school, always looking for kids, cheerleaders, and football players. And his name, he gave me the green light to give it out to the crowd here, and that is Charcado Scipio. I'm sure I didn't pronounce that correctly. But Charcado Scipio, and his phone number, I'm going to give it to you twice real slowly, is 442-370-0584. Again, 442-370-0584. You meet him. He's got a huge heart for the community, a huge heart for the kids, and I think he's accomplishing really good things there. Also wanted to briefly talk about the storm update, really in terms of the trash bins. So we had trash bins located in 4 locations throughout the city. I think by virtue of how many times we had them filled and removed, it was obviously a huge hit for the city. And so now we have gone down, since the type of trash that was going into the bin was really no longer storm related. We've got one 40-yard bin that's behind City Hall. And so if you've got some debris that's not hazardous, you're welcome to put it back there. And then also, it's important to know that if you've got something out of your yard, because we're constantly trying to improve how our community looks, you've got, by virtue of our Burtec contract, you can have 4 separate pickups each year for large and bulky items. All you have to do is go online, you fill out a simple form online, Burtec will call, and then they will make an appointment, I think maybe 1 or 2 weeks out. Lastly, I wanted to acknowledge the work that we're doing, the work that Eli Marshall is doing on the animal shelter. Working on getting those plans. Eli has told me that they've got some preliminary plans. They look amazing. He expects a hydrology report, that study, to be kicked off maybe in the next 30 days. And so that's something that we as a staff, with Eli as the leader, are doing our best to try to push that forward, because that's just something that we so need. And that's all that I've got.
All right, thank you. Council, any last comments?
I just want to thank the staff as well. Thank you, Mr. Keith Gardner, City Manager, City Clerk, and the rest of the team. And thank everyone else for coming out today. I know this was a long one today. I took my tie off, but thank you guys for coming out.
Also, the air quality you saw before they came in is getting worse. Those who have kiddos in school, the Morongo Basin School District is sending out some emails right now about the quality of air for tomorrow's kids. You have asthma problems, breathing problems, take precautions and just watch the monitor. They might do something tomorrow with school because of the air quality. Just giving you a heads up. Without that, meeting's adjourned.
And we hope next time to have a working air conditioning unit. So thank you all for your